Welcome back to PodCrash. At this year's Crash Champions Leadership Summit, I told our team they could ask me anything, and believe me, they did. This is part 2 of our Ask Matt Anything series, where I answer some questions straight from the front lines of our business. In this one, we talk about something every leader deals with, and that is how to motivate and connect with a younger generation of employees. Let's jump in. This is PodCrash.
My name is Johannes Wahamendu. I'm from Branson, Washington, Grady Way, Northwest.
Love it.
What's your advice for this younger generation? Because, I'm walking into a super young, like Gen Z, and it's a little tough now. In the past, I've managed a bunch of, elderly that know what they're doing. A lot easier to manage. But now, these ones, man, if you don't give them a PTO or whatever they want, they're just going to walk away. And it's tough to get good people nowadays, especially in our market. I'm a young man as well myself. I'm in my mid-30s, but my crew is probably like early 20s. I just want them to know like what it takes to own it as well. Because some of them do have a goal in life, what they want to do in 5 years. They want a career out of it. I want an A+ team, right?
Yep.
And I just want a word from you, like, how do I get these guys to know what it takes?
Well, first thing I would try is get a couple older people on the. You call them elderly. I don't know if they're really elderly.
Not elderly, but that's been in the game for a minute, right? Because all of them, they're all out. Out of the industry.
Yep.
Or
I'd try to not do it on my own, and I would definitely get some experienced mentors brought in. And it starts with one. So start with finding one experienced mentor to come in and work next to them. And you learn from the person next to you. You don't have to put it all on you to like pioneer teaching everybody all and changing the culture and trying to change. And I don't know if it's necessarily just this generation. I think it's young people in general. Like they want to enjoy life, haven't figured out quite what they're passionate about, quite what they want to do yet. So a little bit of that is don't just have young, mix it up. And I would start with one, and then make sure the ones that you got are in tune with where you're headed and what you need from them. I think set expectations up front, and if you do that, then you eliminate it. So clear expectations up front would let them know, hey, is this the right fit for me? And let you know, are they a right fit for you? And you could address things like, hey, I can get you your week's vacation to do what you want. I can get you the time you need, but I can't do you taking off a day every other week because I can't do it that way.
Right.
Establish it from the beginning and don't be desperate. Some of the hires, you start to feel like I got no choice. This is all I got. I would set clear expectations from the beginning, try to accommodate what's really important to them within the boundaries that you have to work with, and make sure they know what's important to you and what won't work. And then I would start with one, then two, mix it up a little bit, get some experienced people in there too.
Right on. Sounds good.
Biggest thing with hiring, be more patient and don't be desperate, and you'll be happier in the end.
For sure.
It's a hard play to work though when you really, really need somebody today.
So staying in line with the politically incorrect way to describe this segment, let's talk about the elderly.
Come on, it's pretty funny. These elderly, we need. I don't have any elderly working for.
Or what do you say? Or these ones, the Gen Z. So let's just stay in tune, right in line.
But it's funny because elderly to him is like me.
It's like, yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, you're definitely an elderly, right, Tim? Okay, you were recently a guest on the Lost Boy podcast, if you remember. That was with Anthony Scaramucci and Scott Galloway. And you took a different route when asked the question of today's generation not wanting to work. Mm-hmm. Most people hear that and they agree with it. They're like, yeah, of course, current generation, they're lazy, they don't want to work, they don't, we can't get them into our locations, whatever it might be, or for them to show up to work. But you took a totally different route, and you continue to take this route where you're almost advocating for this generation. And basically, I believe you stated, it's up to us as an older generation to be as much involved as a younger generation and ensure that we're like teaching them as well. Like, why do you take that stance, and why is that important to you?
First, it's just a stereotype. It's not true. It's probably true throughout history that the older generation thought the next up and coming one doesn't want to work as hard as them. I think it's all about what they're excited about, what environment there is, what the expectations are. I believe they want to win just as much as we do. I think young people in general are
Hungry, yeah.
need to figure things out and need to know what that looks like. And a little bit of the world today, social media kind of skews reality, right? Like things appear to come easy, things appear to be awesome when they're not necessarily. So a little bit of it is just maybe reality setting in, but it's just gaining life experience, which all of us have to do.
Is it finding the right audience though? Because according to, Johannes, he's mentioning they're lazy, right? Or not wanting to work. That's not the first time we hear this. Is it a specific audience that needs to change? Because those in the skilled trades, right? Or, when we go visit a school, a trade school, I mean, those kids are hungry, man. They want to work.
Yeah. So if I'm a young person and you ask me to do something I don't know how to do, you basically are disappointed in the result. The result assumption, the easy assumption is that I don't care or I don't want to work hard at it. It very well could be like, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to give you what you're asking me for. Maybe first we mentor and train and set kind of goals and expectations, then we can talk about whether or not somebody is really not wanting to work hard for it. I think just like me, just like I assume everybody when they're young, you're trying to figure things out. You think you know stuff that you don't. So I think the easy assumption is that they're lazy. The harder thing is like, let me have the conversations, help them understand what we're trying to do, help them understand why it's important, figure out if they need to be shown something or if they need a different tool.
So
like those are the harder
on
things.
being shown something, do you think today's generation needs a why? Like, is that what's missing? Do you think that's important, having a why?
Yeah, but
having that larger
But
explanation.
again, I think it's important for all. I think it's important for you and me too. Like, so I don't think it's a generational thing. I think the misassumption is younger people don't deserve the why, maybe, or what? I don't know what those wrong assumptions are, but yeah, okay, so they would like to have a why, but we all should.
Okay, so think back, and maybe my childhood was different than yours, right? But my parents were old school, man, as old school as they come, and with that came a lot of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't told the why. You were told what to do, and you just did it.
Okay.
End of story.
Me too.
So looking at our current management group that might have come from that generation of like sheer discipline, is that what they're expecting from this younger audience where like they don't want to work because I'm telling them what to do and they're not doing it? And do they, misphrase or take that as a misconception of this audience just wanting a bigger why or a bigger explanation of what they're doing?
You're asking me to weigh in on some stuff that I probably don't know the exact answers to, but it's got to start with communication.
Yeah.
So
regardless, you're saying
assumptions don't help. It's got to start with communication. And it's true of any group. Like you have a top 20% and you have a bottom 20%. So you're going to have those that excel, and that's whether it's a group by geography or by age or whatever. There's going to be those in that group, however you're categorizing it, that excel compared to those that are in the bottom 20%. So I believe that there's winners in any age group, any race, any gender. Like stereotypes don't help, assumptions don't help. Communication
is key. So what you're saying, regardless of anything, communicate the why.
Mm-hmm.
No matter gender, no matter where you are, is what you're saying. Yeah.
How does it help you or them? It doesn't help anybody to just assume that a group of people doesn't want to do good. I think that seems like a big mistake to me.
Yeah.
Assume the best and then coach to it.
But I think people struggle with, I mean, I hear what you're saying on the communication part. I think people think they're great communicators, but at the end of the day, they're not. And like, this is more of a like self-reflection or like look at self when you're speaking to whoever. Just make sure you're communicating all aspects of what you're asking somebody to do. And I think that could help solve the world's problems.
We should assume we're horrible communicators.
Everybody should, yeah.
I've learned that more and more every day. When I watch video, why didn't I answer that so much?
Yeah.
Much better. Like,
Yeah.
I can rethink a conversation. I can rethink anything I've said or thought I heard the other person say, and poke holes in it all day. So I think the assumption that we could all communicate better is a true one.
Yeah, I agree. On this generation, right? When you think about giving someone advice on either following your passion or following what you're good at, what is your answer to that?
Everybody would say you'll be happier if you find what you're passionate about, right? Do what you love and it doesn't feel like work. What you're good at can change. Like, I don't think I was naturally good at anything. Like, I wasn't gifted with like sports talent or things like you would say, like, came naturally. I had to work at getting better. So my superpower became the persistence and the determination and, the acknowledgement that I might suck at this the first time, but I'll get better the second. And after the 100th time, I'll be way better. And so I think like you put in the time to get good, finding something you're excited about and love, it makes life better.
So you're saying follow passion, and then with it, everything else falls into place.
Again, I think it's a hard question. What's the context? Like, what are the odds of success? And how bad is it going to be if you don't get there? So context matters. Don't get me wrong, but ideal is to pursue stuff you love. If the chances are better than 1 in a gazillion that you can get there, like, go for it. So it's a little bit of considering the odds and all of that too. But finding something you love, I think, makes life
Better.
much more pleasant.
Got it. Yeah.
I mean, who wants to do something they hate forever unless you're for some reason circumstantially forced to?
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities in this world. Combine it with something you like.
Yeah, so different perspective on that, and then you can give me your feedback. So this is something my kids ask, right? Like, Dad, what do I do? Do I go follow my passion, or do I follow what I'm good at? I've been asked by, some of Isaac, my son's friends as well, like, hey, what path would you take? I can tell you how I answered it, and you might be completely against it, but I think it goes a little against what you just said. So here's the way I look at it, is like, if you follow your passion, in my opinion, I think that's great. Everyone should follow their passion. But what I found, or at least personally, what I find with that is you get comfortable in your passion. You're not necessarily tried. You're not necessarily pushed. You're not necessarily looking at growth, in my opinion, in that segment. When you do something you're good at, you can monetize that. And so the way I answer to my kids is like, okay, so what path do you take? My first question to them is like, what life do you want to live?
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell me your life in with things, what that looks like. And of course they go, well, I want the cars. One of them, I want the cars, I want the houses, I want everything. And I said, okay, well, following your passion may not get there. I mean, in my opinion only, this is me, I don't know if following your passion really puts you above average, in my opinion. And only based on the fact is that you're not pushing yourself, you're not being tested, you're not being uncomfortable. If you find what you're good at, my opinion is find a way to monetize it and go for it. Because I think that creates a different aspect and a different life and a different approach where you're constantly growing. And maybe it becomes your passion over time. And listen, I started fixing cars because I was passionate about it, right? And this was a long, long time ago. I mean, the income levels 25 years ago are completely different for a technician today, right? But back then, I was like, man, I followed my passion, and now my environment created my decision because I didn't know marketing existed. Those around me didn't go to college. Everybody worked in a factory and or dealership or something like that. So being exposed to corporate, right? And this, I never had that. But when I got exposed to it, I became pretty damn good at it. And like, listen, I have hard days here, like everybody. I have good days and bad days. Never an easy day, but nonetheless, that pushes me to grow. So that's the response I give my kids, and it could be different than the way you see it, but
I don't know that I see it differently. The reality is there's more than one way to go about life. You might for a minute have to do something that you hate and suck at, but it's a job that pays the bills while you look for something else or work on something else. So I think ideally you carve out the plan for where you want to be, and sometimes in the interim you have to do something that either doesn't meet either of those qualifications that you talked about. Maybe you're not passionate about it or good at it. It's just what's going to pay the bills in the meantime while you go to school or seek the opportunity for something that you're great at or passionate at. And I don't know that they're mutually exclusive necessarily. So maybe that's where my mind's disconnecting too, because usually stuff that we're good at,
we become
passionate about. Like, it's hard to get passionate about something you suck at, in my experience, but maybe
that's fair.
Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you want more PodCrash in your life, which of course you do, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Catch you next time.